Welcome to another edition of Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto, Willies, your host. Today, I'm honored to have Mondale Robinson. He is the mayor of Enfield, North Carolina. He revolutionized a town, and he's also a leader of the Black Male Voter Project. Got it.
Yeah.
But anyway, the reason I really wanted to talk to you is that today on my radio show on KPFT, Pacifica Network, one of the callers said, do you know Mondale? I mean, there's an issue between Mondale and TYT Network. And I'm like, I keep aware of everything that's going on. I hadn't heard about it. And then I said, I'll find out and I'll go find Mondale, because if Mondale has an issue, I want to hear about it. So first of all, tell me about your relationship with TYT Network.
So with TYT, up until yesterday, well, actually for me, Monday, I was an official, contributor. I am one of the originals for Rebel HQ. We helped get TYT's second large money source, over 1 million subscribers. I was averaging about 30 million views a year over there creating content. Plus, I also co-hosted their news shows with their lead host, or whenever the hosts were out, I would fill in for those hosts on the main show, on John's show, on TYT with JR,
with Jake and Anna,
and of course also with Rashad Ritchie and Sharon Reed. So I was on the network, both on both platforms, the TYT News platform, and also on the contributing side through Rebel HQ content creation. So I was a paid contributor up until Monday for me, but Tuesday when they officially responded and they said they hear me and they accept my resignation.
So they just they just went ahead and said after you came. First of all, let's hear what you did. You came on live, and right out of the blue, you said, "I can't do this anymore. This is going to be my last show at TYT." Explain why you did that.
So what happened was I said I would no longer do any more content for TYT. Not only would I no longer host shows or show up as a guest contributor, but I'm no longer creating content. And that's not because of any of the show hosts or at all. It's because of what I see the head of the organization, that's Cenk, and also Anna, turning towards MAGA. And also, normalizing this idea that Donald Trump and his followers are not racist or not threats to Black people. And I don't care what the outcome of this past election is, for me to see someone who has garnered over 1 billion views from the progressive community, people who have made so much money off the backs and thoughts of Black and white conservatives, progressives. I felt like that was a disservice for who we are. In a moment where we need progressive news, where we need progressive outlets to be as strong as possible to charge up the Donald Trump administration, I didn't see Cenk and Anna taking a stance to say that they were ready to do that. What I saw them do was trying to remain relevant with conservative media. Anna doing interviews with Glenn Beck, Cenk showing up on Piers Morgan and other places and talking about maybe these people aren't as conservative as everything, or maybe they're going to save democracy. And then I seen Anna take it a step further when she started calling us religious zealots. People on the left were being compared to religious zealots. And that to me was the straw that broke the camel's back. And I could not in good conscience continue to take a paycheck from this network. So I said, I'll walk away from all this money. I'll walk away from 30 million views a year if I need to, because I'm not willing to sell out what my progressive values are. And I see them chasing checks versus chasing the truth.
So, I mean, when they went out of their way to speak to Glenn Beck and others, did they put those clips on the TYT Network's platform?
And that's a part of the problem. And I think people on TYT Network may not have seen this ideology, because what we're really seeing is on Twitter, you're showing up as a different person. Cenk, Anna saying, things that some people are confusing, or not even confusing, conflating with transphobia. Anna is being more conservative, calling us zealots on the left. And then, like I said, cozying up with Glenn Beck, and none of this is popping up as content on TYT. This is content on other platforms. So that they looking more mainstream on other platforms, but on the platforms where people are paying subscriptions, where people are spending their progressive time with media outlets, they're showing up as a different people, a different entity, and I can't take that. That to me seems fraudulent.
Well, actually, it is fraudulent if what you're trying to do is normalize both MAGA and normalize Trump, because, again, it goes against everything that progressives are supposed to believe in. And for a network that used to preach that MSNBC was the pariah because they were too close to neoliberalism, it's hard to see then how you can approach MAGA and somehow believe that it's interesting because this has happened to many of our progressive folks when they, instead of chasing their values, they decide to, and we're assuming that these may be chasing clicks from elsewhere or trying to normalize yourself now that we have a new power in Washington. Your thoughts?
I mean, for me, regardless if the motive is money or whatever the motive is to remain relevant, the idea to be progressive, it is never about relevance. It's about moving people further, making sure the least amongst us are getting closer to equity in our line, in our work. And I don't see that right now. So I don't care if their motive is money because it doesn't bother me. What I do see is a week before the election, you were ready to call Donald Trump people fascists, and you was calling Trump a fascist. Now, all of a sudden, the election outcome didn't turn out a way that we were seeking, and now you're normalizing what you just called the fascists. You have been charging up the Biden administration or liberal administrations or neoliberal administrations since you came on air, and now you can't have the gall to do the same thing with the Republican administration just because they said they're going to weaponize the FBI. I'd be damned if you get to run when things get hard and then stand when it's easy. I'm not okay with that. And for those reasons, I walked away from the money and also the platform.
Now, I want you to address something because there's an issue with liberals. Let me see how to put this. There are some people, I want you to explain this. There are some people who can actually play in both domains, but some who would never have the ability to play in both domains. Explain that some.
Well, I mean, it's as simple as American, right? It's as old as American. It's as white as America, right? And because what you're saying is white people get to play politics, black people die from politics. So those who get to play in both domains and without any repercussions, they're usually white people. And I mean, we could dress it up, or they're so close to white, the proximity is dangerous. And I think that to me is not okay. I don't ever think for me that there's a true progressive that can play in both spaces. You cannot be progressive if you don't stand on certain principles. The idea that you're willing to normalize people that say that black people are from S-hole countries, that we root from there. People that when black people say Black Lives Matter, they say Blue Lives Matter. What are we talking about, Smurfs? No, what you're saying is that the ideal of American police is as important as the death of blackness. And I can't stand for that. And I'm telling people right now, we as the progressives have to put a stake in the mud and say, we will not subscribe. We will not send millions of dollars. We will not send billions of views to a network that is willing to be cozying up with Glenn Beck, who was the MAGA before there was MAGA, right? Glenn Beck was Trump before Trump was on the political scene. And I mean, he was so far right that he had to be fired from Fox. Think about that. Think about the lies and the shenanigans that Fox is guilty of that they allow on their air. And Glenn Beck can't be on their air. So to see that what we're calling the vanguard of progressive networks over there playing games with people's lives, because that's what it is. This is not hyperbole. Keep in mind that I still get death threats, right? I've not spent a night in this town that I'm in right now in 2 years since I tore down a Confederate monument. So to see Cenk and Anna cozy up to these same people who believe that black people should not be so-called uppity and know their place, it's not comfortable for me. And I refuse to call those people progressives. So I don't know if there are progressives or people that can play on both sides. What I will say is with whiteness comes the ability to disappear from progressive policies when it's uncool.
You know, I actually saw the tears in your eyes when you just came out and said it. And I mean, it really hurts. Today on one of my programs, I pointed out to folks that, you know, when we look at even the election that did occur, what really hurt is how did the most competent person, somebody who was competent, eloquent, somebody who had no issues, no legal issues, how could that person lose against a Donald Trump? And it speaks to who America is. Explain that somewhat.
Yeah, I mean, listen. If you understand what America is and what Donald Trump was able to do, this is not a new thing, right? This is the white Southern strategy replayed and remixed for the 21st century. All we saw was Donald Trump doing exactly what Lee Atwater said: invoke fear in white people about the threat to their superiority, and you will have a base that is unbeaten, unmatched. And what we saw, white people right now as a population, they are dying off. They're dying faster than they're being born. But what we saw Donald Trump was able to do was he was able to increase white people's percentage of the electorate, even as their percentage of the population gets smaller. That happens when the narrative is on the right from Donald Trump and his people that whiteness is being threatened by America's migrant or people other than. When you otherize people to the point that white people become afraid, then you see them showing up for Donald Trump in the way that they did. The problem is on our side, on the left, we weren't talking about issues that motivated people. We weren't talking about how we bring trades back to school so that black men don't have to suffer through the microaggressions in workspaces. We weren't talking about how we're going to increase people's life. Black men have the shortest lives of anybody, not just in America, but in 157 out of the 190 so countries in this world. You have to go to places like Afghanistan to find people with shorter lives. We weren't talking about how we were going to address not qualified immunity. Donald Trump is talking about full immunity. So we have to be honest about all of that and what it means to be on the left and how we fail epically at reaching our base.
It is said that we're still fighting this battle. So where do we go from here? I mean, TYT was one of the largest progressive networks, and pretty much they've called it in. I know they have a whole lot of other programs that they run. There are any of these other programs decided making decisions right now, or what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know the state of what these other programs are going to do. I do have people that I love and built relationships. Dr. Richie, Sharon, some of the producers over there, some other people that I truly care about. But I can't, in good conscience, support a network because what happens when Cenk and Anna start saying that you cannot be on air contradicting what we're saying? And I don't know what that looks like, and I don't want to be around for it. So I do know that, people left before me and people will continue to leave because they're true progressives over there. And we see something that is extremely dark happening right now.
That is like, give me a closer, Mondale. I mean, this is sad. I had to talk to you, and I really wanted to talk to you today because I want folks at Pacifica Network to hear what's going on. But you know what? Before you answer, I want to let you know that you always have a home at Politics Done Right. You always have a home on Pacifica Network, KPFT 90.1 FM, Houston, and everywhere else. So give me a closer.
Yeah, listen, in closing, here's what I can say. We're not progressive if we're only progressive when the left is in power. It is time to be progressive and progressive out loud when we are out of power. This is when we can demand the most, and we should demand the most, not just of the left, but also of the right. And what I'm seeing right now is I see a cracking in our progressive infrastructure in that people are willing to be more liked, retweeted and subtweeted than they are about standing on principle. And I can't do that. Mondale Robinson, mayor of Enfield, founder of Black Male Voter Project.
Thank you so kindly, Mondale. Keep up the good work.
All right. Peace, man.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.